So our design documents always talk about that. I expect in the work plans you're developing, we'll be looking at sort of these kinds of things approximately. And sustainability. Rand's going to have a different expression of that, but you know, you'll need to figure out how to articulate that. So that's sort of the theoretical world of. Okay, so this is good. I like this. You should like it too. This is the best thing about USAID project design. This is the first time they've done this in a couple of decades. They think we should have real development hypotheses. And you're going to like that. Scientists love that. Comes from me, right? If we do this, then there is that. And to get that kind of thinking in a donor agency is very difficult. It's a lot easier in the scientific community, so I don't think you're going to have trouble for it. And I invite you to really work for that, because you need to be clear in your thinking. These aren't relative to where you stand, these are probably not the best hypotheses, but for where we are, they're great. I mean, the first one we like, this is a nutrition program. If we do it through email design, it's what you just saw. This I borrowed from a guy called Howard White, who's a super heavyweight evaluation guru. Used to do impact evaluation for the World Bank, now he's doing other stuff. Now Howard came here recently to help start the Ugandan Evaluation Association, which maybe RAM will find itself a part of. These are to resurrect the evaluation capacity in Uganda, a very interesting thing. So Howard talks about this, so I must give Howard credit for this. But Howard says, basically, if you could get design now, it has its strengths, it has its weaknesses. You are working at a much more systemic level, and I think your kind of work's going to have difficulty figuring a little bit in this, but never mind, that makes it an interesting challenge. But we do that, and you know, that's just, you know, this is not a real interest unless you're following logical frameworks, but that's basically, you know, that's the kind of reasoning we have at design people. People think if you could just think more sequentially, this would help a lot in realizing desirable impact. The answer is yes, but the answer is it's more complicated than that. See, what's wrong with all that? Well, there are two sort of things that are wrong. One is that a strategy and a big program is really moving along. You only know certain things in the early side, there's an end point, but you know, you're really shifting and moving. So for practical purposes, you know, you really, you know, you sort of start here, you want to get there, but all this stuff happens. This is the more progressive understanding of what strategy worlds look like, okay? So that's one problem with trying to think about the world in a logical framework approach. The second problem is this. This I love. I hope you can see this a little bit. This is Howard's funnel of attrition. This funnel is happening in this room right now. And it's going to happen in your project, and it happens in all design projects. Here's the basic problem. You think you'll reach 100 people, but actually only 75 people know about what you're doing. And maybe 45 people actually participate in what you're doing. And then only 35 of those are actually getting the knowledge. And then only 25 might be changing your attitudes. Then 20 people are changing behaviors. And then your outputs and outcomes. You see the kind of problem happening in this room right now? This is the problem when you have the language, we will do this through training and technical assistance, because the attrition, the funnel of attrition starts to get into and bother your designs. So actually, project design really looks like this, but people don't want to talk about this because, well, that's just loathsome, you know? The world should be sequential and everything's sort of getting better. No, it's getting smaller. What do we do as designers? What do we do as designers to mitigate this problem? It's a really important question. All right, so here we are. Here's why that's going on. You know, how many people actually show up, people attend, they stay awake, they pay attention, they understand, you know, they take action for everything agreed upon.